experiments and activities depicted on this program can be extremely dangerous. Conduction of such experiments at home is strongly discouraged, and should never be done without proper safety precautions under the supervision of a professional.
This week, we're doing a rocket test to see which is the best fuel that is affordable and you can easily find at home.
That's how you do an evil laugh.
Hi, I'm Professor Spencer Cameron, and welcome to the first episode of The Mad Scientist. I'm not qualified, but it doesn't matter. I tested 5 different substances for my rocket, along with 25% of my combustible fuel, which is made up of gunpowder, sugar, and for special effects, aluminium powder. You can actually buy this, but I'm not going to tell you what it's called because it is very dangerous. The 5 substances were sugar, firelighter, oxygen, salt, and coffee. I found that the sugar just caramelized. I've seen YouTube videos on people using it with potassium nitrate. That seemed to work, but for this particular stuff, it didn't. The barbecue firelighters and the oxygen just stayed alight and didn't really burn that well as a fuel. The salt just melted and put out the flame. But surprisingly, I found coffee worked the best. So that's what I used for my rocket. Check out the test. By the Australian rocket law, yes, there is one. The laws are: you can't launch the rocket over 500 meters up without a permit. You have to wear safety gear, example, thick woolen jumper, fireproof pants, and a helmet. And boots, strong boots. Your rocket cannot be over 4 kilos or you need a permit. The rocket has to be 500 meters away from man-made objects. Example, house, car, roads. You're required to have a fire extinguisher and fire blankets. You have to be at least 20 meters away from the rocket when launching. And one last thing, I've got a bunker, so if the rocket comes towards me or when it goes up and then comes down, given that the parachute should deploy, I've got a bunker. To launch a rocket, first you need something to propel the rocket. Anything that will push down will work. It could be a chemical fuel or something as simple as compressed air. The next step is you need to keep the rocket steady. That means shaping the aerodynamics of the rocket and controlling the thrust to send your rocket straight up. It's 12 a.m. See. Just finished my rocket, all little mechanisms, so it should be good to launch for tomorrow. So. Okay, I've got some good news and some bad news. The bad news is we can't fire up there because it's too windy and we had to move the bunker. Not really a big deal, but it's all sorted. The good news is we're go to launch. So let's do this. Okay, I've got my safety fire extinguisher and fire blanket. I've got my helm protection, goes over. I've got my fuse that goes onto the rocket with the cord, so I can light it from the bunker up there with a black switch. I've got my rocket here, which has the parachute connected to it. I haven't folded up yet. It's got a little signal thing there, and then the top slips on like that. And then I have a little, so I can also control the little black switch from up there, which will deploy the parachute. And yeah, that's it. So this is my rocket. I've loaded the parachute. Let's just do a quick rundown of what is it. Okay, to start with, there's shock balls in the top, then there's plaster, and then yeah, there's also the parachute. This little thing here sends it, so this thing pops off, sends it to my bunker up there, and hopefully the parachute should release. The next thing is, the tubing is made out of steel, and it's very light, and then there's all the fuel, and then I've got more plaster, the wings, and there's this plastic tubing down here, so then I can launch the rocket here, and it should go straight up, nice and easily. So, let's get ready. Red Bull, gives you wings. Okay, so I've got the switch here, on off, it's not connected yet. And then this is my bunker protection. I'm not going to get in there just in case the rocket comes towards me. Very unlikely. Fire in the hole! 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Oh, the parachute. Oh, we have a problem. The parachute didn't deploy, so the rocket might be wrecked, so crossing my fingers it's still intact. Oh, here we go. Oh! Oh! That is awesome! Just a recap on the rocket. It's actually smouldering right now. You can see it's still a bit red. It singed the rocket, and it traveled 35 meters along, up and then down, and the distance it traveled up was 38, so it was a pretty good run, and it landed in the ground about that much, so that's the power it had on it. I think it could have been capable of going a little bit further because the wind, but you know, we've had bad days, we've had good days. I wrote this to my hypothesis. If everything goes to plan, the rocket will be lit from the safety of the bunker. The rocket will travel straight up and reaching about 50 to 100 meters high. Then the parachute will release and slowly float to the ground. It is fairly hard to tell how high the rocket will go because the rocket is quite heavy. Most of my hypothesis was right, except 50 to 100 meters high. It didn't reach that far, it only reached 38 meters high, which is still a long way. and the parachute didn't deploy because it got so hot that all the mechanisms just fried, pretty much. Hope you enjoyed that episode. I most certainly did. Now next week we'll be learning about good old-fashioned swords and how they were made, and we'll even be making one ourselves. And everyone's been wondering, what about that Fruit Ninja paddle? Well, I have it. It's right here. Fruit Ninja. Oh man, that's bad. Oh, yeah. I'm a mad scientist, signing out.